Welcome to another episode of The Drive, presented as always by Oddschecker. I am joined on this wonderful President's Day Monday here in the States by a big winner from Geoffrey Fienberg. Who's your president, sir? My president is Ludvig. Congrats to you. As always, it could not have happened to a better person at a better venue for Jeffrey. The good guys do, in fact, deserve it sometimes. So, congratulations, my man, on what I thought was a pretty spectacular performance for a player that you and I both have been pretty high on for quite some time.
The non-believers were few and far between, Andy, but they certainly existed. And you would have thought a guy who
They were
had,
certainly a vocal minority.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and you would certainly think a guy who had accomplished what he had accomplished, the placements he had placed on his first run around so many courses on tour, would be given an element of grace. But no, I mean, a lot of us are from an era where Morikawa, Jordan Spieth win major championships right away, and they sort of change a bit of the rules. Ludwig a little older, but hey, seasoned, it's all coming. Maybe still a prince for the moment, but King Ludwig, I think, by summer's end, Andy.
I completely agree with you. I mean, we can spend 30 more seconds on this before we dive into Mexico, but does this change your opinion at all on him for the upcoming major championship season?
I mean, my opinion was pretty much as high as you could get it. To me,
Yeah,
he was I mean, in the current PGA boards, after Rory and Scotty, he was my number three.
yeah.
He skipped over Colin for me on when you started talking about long and soft, and there's certain types of players. I trust him more as much as JT. Obviously, when you talk majors, we're bringing in Rom, we're bringing in Bryson, so maybe I would just lean him back a little. But yeah, I think it's going to be maybe not full ceiling Scotty, but I think it's going to be very similar. In Scotty, before he won, was just a consistent contender, and then he won, which turned into a lot of wins and a lot of big wins. So I think if Rory and Scotty aren't on their A game, this guy's going to be ready to clip him each time out.
Totally agree. Well, we'll have a lot to talk about Reed Ludwig in the upcoming weeks. Uh, you know, Torrey Pines, or excuse me, Bay Hill,
Yeah.
TPC Sawgrass, Augusta. These are all attractive venues for Ludwig that he's already played quite well at in his brief
And
career.
played his first time, and he did well in his first
Right.
run against guys that have been to some of these courses, half a dozen, 10 times, some of them, so yeah,
I
the
mean,
era.
runner up at the Masters on debut, which is like from a statistical standpoint, literally the hardest golf course on the PGA Tour to play well at as a debutant by like a mile statistically, should have ended all arguments on talent. I mean, he literally, I'm not doing a whole thing, but he led the field in ball striking at freaking Pinehurst through 36 holes, right? Like we can end all debates
Winning
on,
is a skill.
yeah,
Like we agree, winning is a skill. We see so many great players currently in wind droughts. It is a skill, and it can run out and be hard to find. And with him, you hope he gets a taste of it. He even said, like, when I contend, I have fun. I
yeah,
don't get nervous. I have fun. I think that's only going to be beneficial as guys around him are just balls of nerves,
yeah.
that he could be contending against week in, week out. Yeah, King Ludwig, the Viking current leader of the Viking Cup. But I think that could shake up this week a little bit, Andy, because I feel like I got a few bets from Scandinavia in a
Yeah.
wide open Mexico.
Well, let's dive right into it. So, we're going to Vidanta Vallarta. This is our fourth year at Vidanta Vallarta. We've had Rom, Finau, Jake Knapp. All three of these guys possess two things in common: murder the ball off the tee. Great, specifically great long iron players, right? I mean, Jake Knapp, you know, the driver always gets the attention, is the star of the show. Jake Knapp won that tournament last year with his long iron approach play. And to me, that's probably the most notable aspect of Vedanta Vallarta is based on the course setup. It has five par threes, four par fives, a bunch of long par fours. This is the most long iron intensive golf course on the PGA Tour, right? And so, that doesn't necessarily mean it's hard, but it just means that there's a massive edge to be had for A, driving the ball a really long way and giving yourself less long irons, or B, just being amazing with your long irons, right? Two similar roadmaps to get to the right answer. So it's an interesting board. It's probably the weakest PGA Tour field that we've seen all year. That has certainly not stopped me from firing off on any bets. Dive right in. How do you assess the top of the board here in Mexico?
So we speak about it a lot here, and last week I deviated because Torrey Pines long and soft. I felt I'm going to bet this thing like it's a U.S. Open, and that's what led me to my betting card. But here, I am pretty much prepared to flood the zone, Andy.
Okay.
I respect. Yeah, I think I just want as many 50 to 150 bodies that I believe will be PGA Tour champions, if not already, someday. That being said, I don't hate Batia at the top, Batia,
Yeah.
because you mentioned the winners here. I do believe there's a separation between him and the next guy. Right.
Okay.
Looking at that odds checker grid, like I believe there is a gap in talent, and we've seen guys with gaps in talent here win. Now he's not Rom, he's not Finau yet, but it's been kind to guys who I believe do have the gap in talent from the rest of the board. So if that's where someone wanted to go, seeing 14's on the grid, best number, I wouldn't argue with it, but I'm skipping it all.
Yeah, Geoff, I've made four bets, and all four of those bets are between 45 and 110
Yeah.
to 1.
Yeah.
So I somewhat agree with you. I would probably say that I prefer Kitty. I'm just a Kittyama guy, but I prefer Kittyama at the top of the board. But that doesn't mean I'm ready to fire on him at 25 to 1. I'm probably thinking similarly to you, man. Like I said, I have pretty much half of my card completed as we record this on Monday late afternoon. And all four of those bets, like I mentioned, are 45 to 110. So I can dive into those happily. But before I do, is there anybody that you bet sub 45 to 1?
No, not for me yet. I mean, Taylor Moore at 30. I've now seen it down to
He was at
28.
the win this weekend, Geoff. I don't know if that
Okay.
changes your
Thank
opinion. I'm
no,
not, I'm not, I'm not saying that he's going to play bad just because he spent the prior weekend in Vegas, but I was like, is that Taylor Moore in the lobby of the win right now? And he was either like the chief contender in a Taylor Moore lookalike contest. I'm 99% sure it
okay.
was Taylor Moore. But
I'll give that one to you. But no, I've just decided to skip them all. Like the Harry Hall, the Ben Griffin, the Bo Hostler player profile are just not near my card.
sure.
Like it's just guys that rip snort it off the tee, very proficient long iron players. Obviously, like those guys can be at times, but they certainly don't have the distance. Steven Jagger could always tempt me, but he's just not playing well. Andy, I know who your first bet is.
Shout
Um,
out Duke.
I haven't taken in any of your golf content yet at the Inside Sports Network, where you're pounding out wonderful work early here on this Monday. But I have been friends with you long enough to know there is no way Andy Andy did not immediately click Alex Smalley versus this field with that player profile this week. So I'll let you rave about your boy and then fill us in who's next.
Well, I don't know if it is. I should be proud of the fact that Alex Smalley at the Mexico Open fits my MO so strongly, but he's the number one resort course player in this field. He's the number one pass palm player in this field. He's got above average distance. He's got above average long iron play. He's playing well to open the season, and he's actually starting to putt well too. We saw some of that putting upside, which has been his greatest bugaboo in the past come out for him in Phoenix, where he gained over 5 strokes putting. So yeah, Alex Smalley, 45 to 1 is how I am opening my card this week. And then I dive into a guy at 55, a guy at 60, and a guy at 110.
Let's go. I'll give my first in this range.
Give me your first.
I've bet Nicholas Norgard Miller, Andy.
Oh, I love He's a big ISN. Like there are a lot of DP World
Yes,
Tour.
I'm in on this. Obviously a lot of the hard data is limited for us with limited PGA Tour starts and not really in on a full calendar. But people were betting him near this number to win the Farmers 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to take my shot with the big hitting Dane here. I got a 50 to 1. So I am in on Nicholas Norgard Miller. Moeller, sorry. Wow. Like you think he's American Miller. So that's the first bet I made. I don't think you made that one. So I just want to get it out. And then I got a few more closer to 100.
I mean, went in the same direction with a Euro bomber in Nikolai Hojgaard,
Yeah.
55 to 1.
Love it.
I like both the Hojgaards this
Of
week.
course.
Obviously, I was more inclined to bet Nikolai at 55 than Rasmus at 20. I do believe that pricing is right. Like Rasmus, if you follow the DP and you dive into the numbers, Rasmus is better, but Nikolai on his best week, it can, the ceilings are similar. I think Rasmus is a little more consistent from week to week, which has resulted in the price. I think Nikolai at
Hey, we
51.
ain't betting top 10, eh? We're betting to win here.
I think Nikolai is a way
So,
better outright bet
yeah,
at
I
50.
like that. A lot of people I respect. That's one I've been circling around like a shark. Both of your bets, to be perfectly honest,
Mhm.
have thus far been calling to me all morning. So let's keep riding here. But Team Hojgaard, he's actually I actually gave him for my one and done this week.
Nikolai, not Rasmus.
Nikolai from the brothers Hojgaard. Uh
Yeah,
well, I'll just you know who my buddy Tim Anderson is, but he's a mush. And his one and
I
done this
do.
week was Rasmus. I don't even think he knows that Rasmus has a brother. So I have just played him and said, I'm taking the other Hoygaard. And when my guy wins, you're probably going to think it's your guy winning because you don't even realize there's two of them. But
Th-
I'll probably be in the
I
end.
hope they give us a matchup this week just for shits and gigs, like a top Hojgaard market or a line on that. What
Well,
would
the
you say?
top Dane market be pretty crowded.
Yeah, I think Rasmus probably, if I had to set the line on the two in a matchup, it's probably still Rasmus minus 135.
So in this range, Andy, you know what? You keep going, and I'll
Well,
then I'll give.
I have one more at 60 and one more at 110 to throw out. I
So give me
bet,
the 60.
yeah, I bet EVR at 60. I missed an 80 on DK last night while I was
That's
asleep at the wheel coming back from
I
Vegas.
still
And
like it. 66
yeah,
is out there. I think you can maybe even get it
I think we
enhanced.
both hit him at Mexico in the
Yes,
fall
with that
swing.
incredible, like
Yeah.
insane fit, one of the craziest finishes to win a golf
It's
tournament
it's
ever.
it's like basically the same golf course, if
And
I'm
he
being
was a
honest.
first round leader here, I want to
Yep,
say a few years
yep,
ago. As
yep.
long as he doesn't find the many bodies of water on
Hmm.
this course, I actually think he's going to be there for you on the weekend. Um, in this range for Bjornsson
Yeah.
at 70, I mean, that's just like a strict distance play, probably an ability to attack the crap out of a resort course. Jesper Svensson also
Love it.
rings a bell for me. That's one that's not in, but I have bet Anton Rosner, Andy. Uh
Love that.
the
My guy, I
Frenchman.
just did a show with Baroff and he's all over Roz
Yeah,
this.
listen, I got so much respect for our friends who are DP World Tour mutants, and I say that with like the
With love.
highest as a comp with love.
Yeah.
And they are all in on Rosner this week, who absolutely mashes the ball. He just finished fourth place at the where Hao Tong won at the Qatar Masters.
Qatar. Yeah, I think it was Qatar.
Yeah, so I'm expecting a strong showing from these DP World Tour boys who just full sender at the moment. And I'm not done. I'm not done with my Europeans, but throw me your 110 to 1.
Same. I bet Vinny Norm's 110 to 1. You know, I gotta
Vinny
be honest.
Nor yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, Jeff.
Ludvig's roommate.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really unfortunate to me that like Vinny Norms, love the guy, bet him this week. I think he has a perfect skill profile to succeed at Mexico. At the same time, he hasn't finished top 10 in an event on any tour since the end of 2023. I was expecting to slam Vinny Norms at 300 to
Yeah.
1. And now apparently the books are like,
100,
does
110,
DraftKings
right?
model now? Like, how do you know that a guy that hasn't had a top 10 on any tour in a year and a half is 110 to 1 instead of 500 to 1? I guess they're looking at the
The
same
great yeah.
I'm looking.
Also another guy I'm going to throw out back there who I'm also on while swimming around Vinny Norms, uh Chris Ventura from
Yeah,
Norway. So I'm just pumping these Scandinavians this week. Uh,
yeah,
fourth at the Farmers, right? That's almost all I needed. That's almost all I needed to see. 50th at Waste Management, but fourth at the Farmers was enough for me to want to get on Christoph Ventura at 100 to 1 on that odds checker grid. So Rosner, Ventura, Højgaard, I'm going to ride with you there. And who's the and Norgard Muller. I'm
yep,
probably butchering the name. Those are the bets that I have in, Andy. We're going to get you out with recapping yours. But you mentioned it with the line for Norman. And I mean, you could have this conversation all week. The guy you like at 50, I'd make the case the guy I like at 100 has just as good of a chance to win. And the guy I like at 100, you could probably find a guy at 200 that you would say, I don't know why that guy's got a better chance to win than mine. And you're absolutely right when it comes to the expectation from a few of us for that Vinny Norm price this morning. So get us out the door here with your final card and just your thoughts on
yeah.
what I just said. Like, how do you decide? Like, the win equity here is kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it is. And listen, I think there is a good chance that I'm going to add somebody under 45 to 1 this week. It's probably going to be Kitayama or Jaeger, but I still think that you could build a fairly beautiful outright card starting with Alex Smalley as your lowest bet at
Yeah.
45 to 1.
I
This
make a full card, like 7 guys from Smalley all the way to Hayden Springer, and I'll be really happy with myself.
Yeah, I mean, my argument has been over the course of the season that like Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, like that range has
Even
been,
Ludvig, to be fair, because he
yeah.
hadn't cashed, and he
Well,
was like 9 to 1
yeah,
and 14, 9 at Torrey, like 14 at Pebble. He
yeah.
was part of it. I
Yeah,
mean,
but none of those guys are playing this week, and so they have to price somebody in the 20s and 30s, and I do understand the Jaeger and Kitayama love. Michael Kim actually, I mean, I always get queasy betting him at all, let alone at a short price. But it's a really good golf course for him
yeah,
in
really
fairness
good.
to him. So anyway, yeah, I've got Smalley 45, Hojgaard 55, Eric Van Rooyen at 60 to 1, Vinny Norms at 110 to 1. You can find all of those prices, I believe, still on the Odds Checker US Golf Grid. Anything else from Odds Checker, Jeff, before we get out of here?
Yeah, Andy, just want to remind everybody watching the games are great. Winning on it is even better. Odds Checker gives you AI powered insights and real time odds so you can spot trends, find value, and turn your knowledge into action. Why just watch when we can be part of the action? Visit Odds Checker now and get in the game. Odds Checker is for entertainment purposes only and does not offer real money betting. Remember, gambling should be fun, so bet responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available. Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the US.
Beautiful, Jeff. That will do it from us. And next week we will be entering the
Yes.
Florida Swing, a place that is near and dear to both of our hearts. We're both big Palm Beach truthers
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah. Big.
And so, the best is yet to come for us in the upcoming weeks. From myself, from Jeff, from the whole Odds Checker family, best of luck with your bets this week. Let's stay hot.